Good evening, Speed Gaming Prime. We are a few minutes early and a few minutes late at the same time. A little bit of technical difficulties on the back end meant that we needed a few to get the gate lifted, so we've got about 5 minutes of sitting here with the fighter and the red mage, and you guys being forced to listen to me. But yeah, no, we are live here on Speed Gaming. My name is Woat. I've got Wildham with me in here on the tracker, and we have a little bit of shenaniganery tonight. As you can see, we are rolling with two forced characters, the Toost, as the community has taken to calling it for reasons. And tonight, in particular, we have the Fighter and the Red Mage as our two forced characters. The runners have agreed that they will not be recruiting, so this is all we get. So, yeah, no, this is not a draft situation. The normal flags for this tournament involve a forced melee and a forced mage character, and the runners agreed that those would be the only two characters they would take. So, two nuns, and they also turned off the recruits found after Fiends flag, I believe. I can actually check that. Yeah, they completely turned it off. So what you see is what you get. So, to kind of quickly lay out what we're looking at here, we do have blursings going here. So Fighter is going to start with a plus 20 to its vitality and plus 10 hit percent. So that Fighter is going to be beefy, and it's going to be swinging a little bit more than you normally would expect. Downside, this Fighter cannot equip the ribbon. So both of these runners are going to want that tail. They're going to be wanting to strap on the poor man's ribbon to that Fighter, or else find a wall spell. Red Mage, meanwhile, has the Hurt Dragon property, so any melee attack that Red Mage makes will do bonus damage against dragons. They're also starting with plus 10 vitality, which means that they're going to be fairly hardy for mages. They, however, cannot cast the Invis 2 spell, and I do believe that they can still use the white shirt to that effect, but they cannot learn Invis 2. So that is going to be an interesting combination. Had we been able to get anything else, we would have been looking at a Thief with extra strength and extra luck, but a penalty to vitality. A Black Belt that resisted time, death, and lightning, but lost out on hit percent per level, which is suboptimal when you're talking about the class that you bring along mostly so it can punch things a lot. They would have been able to throw on Thief Swords, though, so yay. White mages would have been able to equip the shirt, they would have been able to gain some bonus strength, but they would have missed out on MP per level, to the tune of 4 MP per level. And black mages would have been able to throw on gauntlets and helmets, had some bonus MDef, wouldn't have been able to equip Pro Ring. So, honestly, the Fighter and Red Mage were kind of the best deal. Like, maybe you would have taken the Black Belt. Okay, Link-a-Lot, yes, a Black Belt with hit percent is still a Black Belt, but these flags are faster than the SGL flags. Yeah, so it's one of those things, I feel like you kinda have to just take what you got here, and what we got here is pretty good. Like, if you gotta have a class that can't equip the ribbon, the Fighter is the one you want it on, because you can either wall, or you can throw on, like, the Dragon Armor, the Pro Ring, and the Aegis Shield, and have most of your elemental defenses. Look, I'm just saying, if with the flags as fast as they are, with this, like, you don't want to have to take the time to grind the Black Belt more than you're already having to grind the Black Belt. And for folks who, caught some of the pod races, haven't seen the bracket flags, the big difference here is we are now needing to collect 3 orbs. So it's not quite as fast as pods were, but it's still pretty quick. And Lynn, I do believe that the Aegis and Dragon armor do count as better trap treasure. So they can show up there unless those chests get filled before the randomizer places them. So, we are off. I have successfully stalled. Good work, me. So, first things first, we're going to go scope out what magic we are going to be able to strap to these characters, and we are seeing early Brack, early Lit 3, and early Xfer. Not great, not the worst. And you will note that Darkmoon is using our accessible spell names fun % flag. That does not affect the RNG, but if a runner finds the original spell names sometimes a little bit hard to parse at a glance, they do have the option of turning that on, and the spell names are a little more discreet. So, where you see Thun 3 on Darkmoon's side, that will be Lit 3, and there are other differences that, as they crop up, I'll try to call them out if folks needed to. I do not believe we have seen the caster item yet, Thavian. But, it's some kind of a staff. I think that was Mage. Oh, and Gerbs have Frost. Alright, so Fire 2 out the gate, not the worst thing. But Pickles and Beer are probably in for a little bit of a surprise, because he doesn't know about what the Gur-Imps have in store, I believe. Darkmoon burning off encounters very efficiently. So, in spite of some early difficulties, the runners have kind of even back up, and that 3,000 gold, I believe we saw a +2 longsword, or maybe a silver sword, there in Canaria, so that's going to be a good weapon to start us off with. Yeah, Doji, it's not that people don't know the OG spell names, it's that in cases of, say, disorders of parsing characters, like dyslexia, having, like, 4 spells that are all named, like, H something can make it confusing, especially when you get into, like, the heals and the harms and the whatnot. So that's why it was a Silver Axe. So that's what that flag is there for. It's to help people who might have a hard time parsing the difference between, like, lit and life at a, moment's notice, but can parse, like, THN versus LFIF at a moment's notice. It's an accessibility thing. It's not necessarily something everyone's going to need, but it's good to have it. And yeah, it does also do things like change Fade to Holy, which, again, helpful. So, getting back into the actual thing, we do get our loot and a ship. Okay, yeah, we get the loot from the princess and the ship right away. And a crystal from BK. So, the nice thing about having... I just realized Darkmoon didn't even catch he has a boat. He's gonna be annoyed at himself. But yeah, so, as I was saying, one of the big things with this flag set is you have the orbs that you need to light. In the vanilla game, you need to light all 4. What we're using here is a flag set that requires you to only light 3 orbs. So a lot of what you're going to be seeing here is the runners sort of looking for access to the Fiend dungeons and access to the final dungeon. That loot is half the puzzle. They still need the key as far as items go, and then they just need the items to get into the Fiend dungeons. And yeah, so on Darkmoon's side, as you can see, the harm spells have been renamed to Dia to go in line with later games, and Fog has been renamed to Protect for similar reasons. So, a lot of what you're seeing here on Darkmoon's side, a lot of use of alternative spell names from later games. And yeah, Invis 2 being at level 2 is going to be night learnable. All the level 2 white magic is night accessible. And yeah, I'm going to also pop open something real quick as a quick reference. Alright, back to looking at chat. So, right now we're doing a lot of sort of... That's another vanilla item, that's the Herboff Matoya. So yeah, right now we're doing sort of a lot of early game bookkeeping. Between having the canal and the ship, there's nowhere on the southern continent we can't go and get to relatively quickly, so these runners are doing a lot of maneuvering around. And yeah, that chain plus 5 is kind of fantastic. And that is our ribbon that fighter cannot wear. So, alright, we're going ribbons for the rest of the game. Because that is the only ribbon that either runner can equip. Any other ribbons we find is money in the bank if we need it. Yeah, Pickles and Beer giving us a good look at our magic. So, Life 2, that is going to be Night Learnable Life 2. That's actually also Red Mage Learnable Life 2. So, getting very lucky since half of level 3 white magic we can't learn. We are also seeing Fire 3 and Warp there. And I forgot to call it out, but in Provoca we saw Nuke and Temper available. So, yeah, with that early magic selection, we've got Life, we've got Invis 2, we've got Temper, we've got Nuke. Really the only thing we're missing is Fast. And, you know, maybe a more high-powered Cure spell than Cure 2. And we're pretty much golden. And yeah, the tail is going to be required, just to agree with you, Z-Man. But we are at least going to be seeing... whatchamacallit. We are going to be seeing the tail regardless. Like, these runners were not going to go into Topher with an unpromoted fighter and red mage. And yeah, so just to kind of recap, we do have the vendor item in Crescent Lake, and that's going to be the key for 24,000. We get a slab from the Sages, so no sign of the canal yet. Now, these flags are going to force the canal to somewhere on the inner sea, so unless we happen to find a floater as well, we are going to have to dig around until we find that way out of the southern continent. And personally, I'm hoping that that floater is buried at, like, Waterfall or something, or Ordeals, because, well, it's more fun when the runners have to sail a little bit, and we can get everywhere with the map edits that have been made. In this flag set, we add 3 docks up north. One that gives you access to Mirage Tower, one that gives you access to Onrak, and one that gives you access to Bahamut. So theoretically, we don't need the floater, it's just a nice to have. And that key is going to also unlock our other incentive location, where we will have a item that could be the canal, could be the airship, we'll see. And in this case, Jesus, the slab and bottle can't lead to the loot. We got that from the princess. Now, as far as key items go, we're good. Like, we do not actually need the airship in this seed unless 2 Fiend Dungeon access items are locked behind airship checks. But say we find the Rod and the Oxyale at, like, Waterfall or Ordeals or in Marsh Cave, we're good. We're good. Canal, Rod, and Oxyale is go mode, as far as things we still need. We have the key link a lot. It's in Crescent Lake. We don't have the. We just didn't buy it because we didn't have the money yet. But we have the key. We don't need anything else. So. Was that the right eye or the wrong eye there? Because I think that was the wrong eye. But yeah, so just so everyone is on the same page here, we only need to do 3 Fiend dungeons. One of them, as Pickles and Beer is demonstrating, we already have access to because we start with a canoe. The other 3 we still need the items to get into, but because of map edits the randomizer makes, we can get to all of them with a boat as soon as we have a canal to leave the inner sea where we are right now. So we do not need an airship at this point, because we have the key, we have the loot, and as long as we can get into the dungeons, which there are plenty of opportunities to find the items to do that, we Gucci. So, and yeah, so that was an Ice +4 available out of the volcano, so Pickles and Beer is good on armor for a while. But yeah, so Darkmoon opting to go ahead and check Marsh Cave. I do not believe he's been over to Crescent yet. No, he hasn't. So, Darkmoon, unaware that the key is already accessible without needing to go through all of this. You know, obviously looking for the key, also looking for that canal. So, we'll see how things are going. But yeah, so we are getting a hairpin check. This is one of the treasure chests that is guaranteed to have better than average gear, or at least better than average base gear. And those are zombie dragons. Darkmoon suddenly thinking that he maybe needs to move that fire mage staff and that light axe. Ooh, those looked relatively fragile. But there's the bottle. And yeah, that is true, mate, but we do have Harm Dragon. I don't think we have the levels to fully take advantage of that yet, but... Oh, Darkmoon just straight up going to blow some nukes here. He should have another shot or two of... Let's see... Yeah, not eating into his warp supply. He's going to be able to use 1 warp cast to speed up getting out of here. But yeah, no, he is 100% going to murder him some zombie Ds real quick. Which I don't hate. This is good early experience. I imagine he'll hit level 15 or 16 before he gets out of here. Pickles and Beer, meanwhile, has wrapped up his early volcano dive. Found some good gear. Probably not quite good enough to be willing to go down to deal with Carry 1 quite yet. And getting a little bit of bonus action on Darkmoon's side. Yeah, level 15. Yeah, he's out here. Probably going to use that warp shot. Or did he use the... Yeah, he had to have used the warp shot to get out that quickly. No, Phoenix, that was not enough to carry on in Volcano. And those werewolves... Oh, that poison is rude, but Darkmoon has the tools still to get out. He might want to move that mage stick onto the red mage, though, but he should be fine. Meanwhile, Pickles taking this key to go look at the Elfland Treasury. And it gets... I didn't quite make out what that was. It was some kind of armor. But yeah, no, this ribbon coming in clutch for Darkmoon right now, keeping this red mage on his feet to fight his way out of here. Alright, black shirt. Thank y'all. And +5. Nice. So no one can wear it, but, you know, that's still a free Ice 2 cast. So we already have some good elemental magic. We've got the black shirt for ice magic. We've got the mage staff for fire magic. We even have a light axe that, you know, we can keep on that fighter as a little bit of extra undead killing. And we get the crown out of Canaria Locked, and it looks like Pickles is just gonna Oh, he's going to go ahead and go check these chests up in Temple of Fiends. So, these 3 right-hand boxes are also considered for better trap treasure, which, in case it wasn't clear from context clues, certain chests that are guarded in the vanilla game by forced encounters, in the randomizer with that flag on, are guaranteed to have high-tier equipment in them. And the Frost Wolves, that's not a bad find. Like, it's not great experience, but if Pickles and Beer wants to, like, pick up a couple of levels here, he has the option. Also, I'm gonna point out that that fighter on Pickles' side already has, like, 400 HP. And they're, like, level something or another. I didn't quite catch it. "14-ish, yeah. So that's that high vitality coming into play that we mentioned earlier. And yeah, Darkmoon, seeing that Key doesn't have the ability to pick it up yet, but doesn't necessarily need it. I would be surprised if he does a similar play to Pickles, where he goes up to Volcano just to find enough money and things to sell to be able to pick up that key eventually. Actually, no, he did pick up the key. That's right, he killed a bunch of zombie dragons. Never mind. What am I talking about? Bert, we are 16 minutes into this seed. No one's in the lead. Pickles and Beer does find the Vorpal sword, though. But yeah, right now we are on the hunt for the canal still, which I believe at this point must be an ice cave. So that's great. So, neither runner has that. Actually, no. So, actually, Darkmoon, I think, does have the knowledge at this point, once he fights this Astos, to know that he needs to go to Ice Cave to get the canal. Pickles and Beer is still going to need to do Marsh Cave first before he has that intel. So, we are looking like we're in good shape on that front. So, okay, I take back what I said. Darkmoon might have a slight advantage at the moment, simply because, he will know to go to Ice Cave he now knows to go to Ice Cave. Pickles and Beer still needs to actually go collect his bottle, and then he'll know that he needs to go to Ice Cave. Yeah, that's a good point, Thavian. I guess Ice Cave can have Adamant or TNT, which will lead us to the canal, but either way, we do have to go to Ice Cave before we can actually progress the seed. And because of the flags we are using, this can't, be the floater and then the canal is somewhere. The canal has to be accessible without leaving the southern continent. So, at this point, because this is the only incentive item check left available, we know this must be the canal. So, all that being said, it looks like Pickles and Beer is checking the better trap treasure down here at the south of Marsh Cave. Darkmoon couldn't make this check because he didn't have the key, and that is a +2 ice sword. That's actually really good. Because I believe with the +2ing, that gives it a 35 attack and high 20s hit percent bonus. And, some amount more of crit. Yeah. Now, it's in-game viable. You definitely don't want to go... you want a better weapon if you can find one, but if you've got to go into the endgame with an ice +2, that's not the worst case. I mean, I don't know, Phoenix. I'd say that it's less iffy with 2 players, because you're going to have more power on your Ice 2 swinger. But Pickles and Beer, going to be the first one heading to Ice Cave. Darkmoon is stopping off to check these boxes as well. I mean, Jesus, Vorpal neutral is okay. Like, the crits are nice if you have a buff, if you can buff. But right now, our only source of buffing is a Temper Caster, and like those level 2 spells are good, but that's also sharing the slot with Nuke and Invis 2 or Heal 3 or whatever. Like, this is not the ideal Vorpal neutral situation. Crit is king against Chaos unless you're not doing damage. Like, I'm just saying, it's great that it's critting until it's critting and you're hitting Chaos 2 times for 200 damage. Like, that's kind of the reason, that's kind of the problem with neutral Vorpal, is it's not hitting as hard as you really want it to be hitting, even when it crits. And I would point out, we don't have fast. Right, but the point is even if you are getting, you're not going to get 5 hits for 100 with no crits off a +2 Ice Sword necessarily. Like, Ice doesn't have a garbage crit rate. And it, you know, you're also getting more hits out of it than 5. Like, I'm just saying, like, the neutral Vorpal is acceptable, but I'd want a Power Bonk. Like, if I don't have a Power Bonk to get my damage up on a Vorpal, I'm not sure that those crits are necessarily carrying me. So, bottom line, welcome to Final Fantasy I Randomizer, folks. If you haven't seen this before, we mostly argue about fictional swords here. But yeah, meanwhile, both Darkmoon and Pickles have made it into what appears to be a fairly, like, hardy ice cave. I know we have a pretty strong concentration of encounters early on, but it's still, like, Pickles got into here a little bit before Darkmoon, and Darkmoon is still right on his heels. In spite of the fact that he had to come here from Topher. So, like, no, Thavian, that you're thinking of the same thing. Incidentally, well, we'll worry about that. We'll worry about that later. But we've seen some interesting situations involving damage on Chaos in this flag set already. And that second ribbon is not completely worthless. We can sell it. Yeah, Darkmoon opting for that -2 Sun Sword and then thinking about it for a minute. Yeah, no, I agree with that decision. The Sun's, like, I'm a fan of the Sun Sword, but I feel like the Light Axe, you benefit a bit more for swing. Well, no, you don't really benefit for swinging it. They target the same weakness. But Darkmoon pulling a gold bracelet here in the bottom of ice. I don't believe Pickles and Beer came down here. And yeah, knowing those nightmares have Stone Touch is really nice if you need to make a play into Waterfall. Okay, thank you, Z-Man. So he did see it? Cool. Yeah, it looks like Darkmoon may be thinking that he's gotten what he wants and he's going to get out of here before something else does something rude. Okay, he is at least going to get these. But yeah, so at this point, runners have a pretty much free run of the world. We can't get to Gaia, we can't get to Lefane, but everything else is accessible at this point with a canoe and a boat. So we do have Cure 4 available. And we do also have Quad X and Lock 2. So we do at least have lock access. Because I think we also saw that at level 6 in Crescent, the first level version. So Lock and Lock 2 are very good if we don't find Fast anywhere, which at this point we know it's level 7 or level 8, so if it's not an on-rack at that first slot, Fast is just straight up out of reach. No, on-rack might be black, but it's not. It's the first slot in Gaia that needs to be Fast. So yeah, long story short though, what we're looking at right now is we are in a situation where we're not getting as many swings as we want. And to jump back to the discussion, even though we kind of finished it, that is going to disadvantage that Vorpal in the late game, because Vorpal does not give you extra swings, really. Like, it gives you... It might be able to bump you up if you're in the right place, level-wise, to another hit, but you really want Fast on that Vorpal, because what you're banking on is getting a lot of swings and getting, like, 2 or 3 crits out of 8 swings. Also, chat has decided to amuse itself by guessing which of the 4-pillar room is our progression through the Castle of Ordeals, but... So, right now, just jumping back over to what the runners are doing. So, they're kind of following a similar pattern. The big difference is Pickles and Beer made that volcano play, and honestly, Darkmoon isn't really disadvantaged by that. Like, the only thing we really pulled out of there was that +4 ice armor. But we've got so much health on these characters that that's not really a difference maker. And yeah, the fighter started with +10 hit percent, so... And there is our Rod out of Ordeal. So that is 2 Fiend dungeons we can now get into, Volcano and Earth Cave. So if we can find the Oxyale, then we don't... Like, if the Oxyale is, say, here at Bahamut or up in Waterfall, we're good. We don't actually need the airship, except if we want to hunt down the tail. So, moment of truth, and there is the ruby. Okay, well that opens up some more checks. 2, to be specific. There's going to be a key item behind the Titan in the Titan's tunnel, and there's going to be a key item at Sarda. And Pickles and Beer, it looks like, immediately going to follow up on that. Yeah, Doji, the Rod came out of Ordeal, so yeah. And yeah, Jesus, if you're pulling for Pickles and Beer, who, you know, I just realized that it's been 30 minutes and I didn't say this. So this is game 2 of this pair's bracket matchup. Pickles and Beer did win the first one, so Darkmoon is playing for his tournament life. So, if you're a Pickles and Beer fan, you kind of want this to be Tail and Oxyale and just make this go mode. If you're a Darkmoon fan, on the other hand, I don't know, you want this to be... Yeah, no, there's no good scenario if you're a Darkmoon fan. Like, this is going to be useful to Pickles and Beer no matter what. Because we've already seen our two non-key item incentive locations, so... You know, the best case scenario for Darkmoon is that this is a fetch quest. And that's still not very helpful. Like, okay, if this is a TNT leading to, like, the cube and the tail, then, like, that could work to Darkmoon's benefit. And yeah, I missed that the Eye was guarding the throne here. Darkmoon? Darkmoon? Darkmoon, you're... Darkmoon is banking on this Eye being able to kill a red mage. And I'm not sure that's a great plan. Okay, thank you, Luffy. So yeah, so... Pickles and Beer didn't see this Eye. That could work out in Darkmoon's favor, because he's found two good grinds so far. And we did see the Chime out of the Titan, so if that TNT turns into Cube, let's say Darkmoon goes up to Waterfall and finds the Oxyale, that could be interesting. Well, no, I think... Okay, so I take that back. TNT either has to be the floater or Waterfall has to be the floater. Yeah, so... Well, okay, so let's say Pickles and Beer gets the cube out of Narek, and Darkmoon goes to Waterfall instead and finds himself a floater. That might make things interesting. So, we'll see how this shakes out. But right now, unless this TNT turns into the tail, promotion is going to require these runners to go pick up the floater, and we'll see if either of them bites. It definitely seems tanky to me as well, Luffy. I think Darkmoon almost would be better off trying to get a random encounter to kill off his red mage rather than trying to get it killed via Eye. But yeah, so Pickles and Beer hitting the obnoxious part of the encounter table again. Probably going to stop off here at the chest right before Vampire to see what our better trap treasure is. Meanwhile, Alucard on Darkmoon's side continues to not die. There we go. Yeah, for folks who haven't picked up on it, by the way, Darkmoon's sprite set is based on Castlevania. So, I believe specifically his fighter is supposed to be Trevor, his red mage is Alucard, you don't get to see his black mage in this seed, but that is going to be Sypha, his white mage is Maria, his thief is Grant, and his black belt... I can never remember who his black belt is. Not sure. Maybe Simon? But yay! More ribbons! And as a reminder, these runners did turn off recruiting, so there's not even a possibility of finding a third character to slap these ribbons on. And yeah, Trace, he's just grinding. Like, Darkmoon is going to go ahead and get this fighter to a level. I don't know what level. But he's obviously got a plan. And that plan is to assume that Pickles and Beer is going to get to Topher faster, and then deal with it. So, alright, that looked like probably a level 32 grind. Okay, I don't hate it. 32 is going to give you plenty of power. But Darkmoon is about to go collect his ruby, and that'll be the moment of truth. If he doubles back, that's going to give Pickles and Beer a bit of a lead. But if Darkmoon just says, you know what, I'll check this later, and goes on to Waterfall... Oh, okay, never mind. Darkmoon going spicy with this. He's going to go Waterfall first, possibly try to see if he can get that tail before he makes the long walk to Bahamut. And I was not looking at Pickles' side when that happened. But if it was sudden and you didn't see what happened, I'm willing to bet on Death Touch. This is a Danny seed, so spiders are terrible. And Lynn making a good point, the red mage is dead. So we can't actually exit or warp out. So yeah, Darkmoon making the intelligent decision to go on to Onrak. I'm hoping he goes to Waterfall. I want to see some sharp divergence that leads to something interesting here. Because the other thing is like, alright, let's say that TNT is the floater and Tail is here at Waterfall. That's going to be huge for Darkmoon. But yeah, Pickles and Beer going to be our first runner to finish a Fiend off. Lich goes down without much of a fight because it's Lich. But, alright, moment of truth for Darkmoon. So this is either the floater, the tail, or dungeon access. The worst case scenario for Darkmoon is that this is Q. Well, actually, no. Even then, that's not worst case. There's really not a worst case here. Like, anything Darkmoon finds here is going to be helpful. And that's our adamant, so... Alright, Pickles and Beer gets the tail. Okay, so Darkmoon is going to get the floater first. Unless he chases the ruby before the adamant, but I can't see him opting to go to Titan's Cave when he has to basically pass Dwarf Cave on the way. And he's probably not going to bother with Bahamut without the tail. Or he's going to check for the tail. So, alright. Yeah, that is a good point, Phoenix. He could be, like, thinking, well, maybe I'll get the TNT and I can just single-dip dwarves, but either way, Pickles and Beer still is going to have to go over to this waterfall and fiddle around a bit more. So, really the big advantage right now for Pickles and Beer is that because he hasn't ground quite as much, he's probably going to pick up some spells on this fighter a little bit beforehand, but Darkmoon should still at least get 1 or 2 charges of life 2 on his knight when it's all said and done. Alright, so let's see where Darkmoon goes from here. I'm feeling like he's going to go check this adamant first. And if he does, that's going to be really helpful for him, and he is. Alright! So we have a race again. Because this is going to speed up a lot of checks for Darkmoon that Pickles and Beer has already done. And by a lot of checks, I mean like 3. But it's still like... this is still going to make things a lot easier on Darkmoon. Because he very well could have his TNT and his other thing, Chime, before Pickles and Beer can actually get his floater. Because that floater is just going to save so much time on just, like, this quick run around. And yeah, Jesus, we do still need to see in Sky, but we have the bottle and the slab in hand. I'm not sure if either runner's translated it. Wildham didn't catch it, so, and I don't recall seeing either of them do it. But, we'll see. Alright, thank you, Wildham. So Pickle did translate? Alright. So, Darkmoon looking for the bottle to be his either Oxyale or Cube at this. Actually, no, Darkmoon's not going to need to translate. He already has the Chime in hand. Between Lefane and Gaia, one of those is going to be Oxyale, one of those is going to be Cube. So, given that he's already done his leveling, he's probably going to want to see Oxyale off of Fairy, so Vanilla. Pickles and Beer, meanwhile, probably going to hope for the Cube off of the Fairy, because he can pick up the levels he's still in once on that night, getting through Sky. But yeah, Darkmoon is going to be able to just do the double turn-in. Well, okay, the single turn-in. But, this is going to be his tail. He'll probably be class promoted before Pickles and Beer can get back to his ship. Jesus, the only thing I'm going to point out about Sky is, with this encounter table, do you really want to take that many extra steps? Like, Darkmoon doesn't need the fights at this point. He's got a level 32 fighter. His red mage is mid-20s. Like, I disagree on the bottom of sea being scarier than Sky. I'd still favor Sky. I'd still favor Sea over Sky if I get to pick. Because here's the thing: do you really want to get that many? Like, I would be concerned about getting those extra fights on the Bridge of Destiny. Alright, well, we'll see how this shakes out. If Pickles and Beer chases the slab first, we'll probably see the runners pick two different dungeons. And we'll see which one comes out ahead. Okay, the problem with the encounter table is you can't avoid the fact that the first 100 steps has like 6 fights in it. Like, the problem with this encounter table isn't routing around it, it's that routing around it, you still wind up getting stuck in an excessive number of fights. So, Darkmoon looking like he's going to head to Lefane anyway. They're not going to be able to swap a red mage for a black mage, Bert. They turned off recruiting. Yeah, no, Darkmoon's probably going to Lefane to go ahead and get his magic. And yeah, he may want the cube. We'll see. Because he could be looking for power bonks still. That would push you towards Sky. But yeah, this is a shopping trip to pick up the spells for his knight. But picklesandbeer, meanwhile, is going to be grinding off of these red dragons for a bit. He does at least have an advantage in terms of being able to just get moving once he's done with this, whereas Darkmoon is still going to need to clear 3 dungeons as opposed to Pickle&Beer's 2. But Darkmoon has probably made up a lot of ground that he lost to doing some grinding, and Pickles&Beer needing to do some grinding of his own is going to give Darkmoon a little bit of time back. So Darkmoon going to be heading into Sky, though, so we'll see how this shakes out. But yeah, I will also point out that all of this conversation about, like, Darkmoon wanting to see Oxyel rather than Cube was predicated on the assumption that he hadn't translated the slab, which apparently he did, and we all missed it. Yeah, so Darkmoon not stopping to open boxes either. Looks like he is satisfied with the number of swings he's getting off of that Vorpal. And the damage he's getting in spite of it being Vorpal. But we'll see. The badmen continue to be a pain in the butt. That's at least good intel for Topher, because we'll probably see the Badman encounter in Topher. Excuse me. But yeah, the other thing to take into consideration on Darkmoon's side is the fact that at this point, I don't think he's got very good armor. On the knight, at least. I think the red mage is rocking good armor for a red mage. Alright, so it looks like Darkmoon's going to do some looting here on the 3rd floor where it's convenient. -2 katana. And that completes our free elemental casting set with a Thor hammer. Or did we find Zeus gauntlets already? I think we have Zeus gauntlets. Okay, we've got 2 ways of lightning casting. But yeah, not anything exciting here in Sky 3. Darkmoon's not going to go check the 6 chests over on the right. He's just going to go ahead and finish ascending. Picklesandbeer, meanwhile, deciding to go ahead and clean out Volcano, knowing that we do have the cube and whatnot over in the floater-locked area. Okay, Jesus, I'm also going to point out that he didn't take the fastest path there. Like, there was a good bit of walking around. Okay. Dude, we are talking about Darkmoon. Darkmoon does not know what he's doing, and he would admit that as well as anyone. Do not pretend Darkmoon knows what he's doing. Also, as evidenced by the ribbon situation, that was not calculated. Yeah, Darkmoon apparently forgot to actually re-equip his red mage after de-equipping him to grind. Nah. Darkmoon is a very skilled player, but let's let's not sit here and pretend that... Let's not sit here and go, no, Darkmoon game planned that whole thing. Okay, the real question is, in my mind now, is does Darkmoon realize that the reason the Red Mage went down is because there wasn't a ribbon on him? Okay, guys, y'all know that I'm just busting Darkmoon's chops because this is how he and I work, right? Yeah, no, okay. But so it's clear to everyone, yeah, no, anyone can forget about the ribbon after a grind. The real question is if he's going to forget about the ribbon moving forward. But he is going to get this defense sword that Pickles and Beer picked up, so that's handy. And Pickles and Beer, meanwhile, is going to pick up the cube here. I'm interested to see if he's going to grab the Oxyale after this, because we do have a small XP increase for key items. You can't see me face-palming right now. You cannot see me face-palming. Yeah, no, that 100% was the lack of a ribbon. Because that Red Mage took like 93 damage. Okay, so Darkmoon probably tilted, or... yeah. Okay, so at this point, Pickles and Beer, has the cube in hand, and probably going to go do Sky, because it is right here. Sorry, that death just hurt because it was exceedingly avoidable. And it does mean that Darkmoon is missing out on a defense sword. But I think someone was saying that he never picked it up. Well, we'll find out in a minute if the ribbon's equipped on that Red Mage. This carry is not long for the world, it looks like, so... Darkmoon does even up the orb count, and the bright side is he probably will be able to get his third orb about as quick as Pickles and Beer does. But we'll see what happens to Pickles heading into this backstretch here. And yeah, Topher is going to be interesting, because this encounter table is still going to be rude in Temple of Fiends. And again, there's not much you can do about it. Like, it's just a heavy concentration of encounters spread out over what looks to be, like, a ton of steps. Hashtag never punished. Okay, so Pickles and Beer has the advantage. The massive advantage. That power gauntlet basically means whatever weapon he feels like... That makes that Vorpal actually decent. Is what it does. So now he just needs to get through the rest of the dungeon. But he is going to take some extra steps here. Well, Darkmoon is going to keep pressing down. Alright, so Darkmoon at this point appears to have determined that, like, he can't afford to keep looking for gear. He's just got to go for it. And Pickles, it looks like, is trying to find something better than that Vorpal. And yeah, I agree, Phoenix. I think Darkmoon definitely feels behind, having taken that wipe in Volcano. But we'll see how this goes from here. Pickles did stop to do a little bit of extra looting, and those extra steps could get us into the part of the encounter table that's a bit rude, and it looks like that's exactly where we are. He probably is also going to sidestep the Bridge of Destiny, but Darkmoon is still going to be the first one with all 3 orbs lit. I'm probably going to stop off in Canaria, do a quick restock, possibly because I told both of these runners that if they forgot to restock going into Canaria, or going to Temple of Fiends, I might make fun of them, but he might also be topped off. I didn't get a good look at his heal pod count. Alright, cool. So, yeah, no need for me to make fun of him. Oh, he's gonna take some fights here in Topher. I like this. I'm not sure what he's taking the fights for. It might be just to max out the fighter. But Chimera's a bit rude. Probably would be less rude if the fighter wasn't currently on his knees, but we get through it. Darkmoon gets both characters over level 30. Not sure what he's looking for in terms of levels at this point. Might be trying to hit a breakpoint or something. I don't have the Vorpal breakpoints in front of me, but if he's planning to swing the Vorpal, I could see wanting to pick up like level 40 or so on the fighter. Yeah, that's what I'm not sure on, Phoenix. I'm sure that some know-it-all in chat is going to chime in here in a moment to say what the Vorpal breakpoint is. But Darkmoon is currently at 37 on that fighter. So, we'll see. But Pickles and Beer, meanwhile, feeling comfortable with his setup, which he's got a bonk, I don't blame him. Going to be the first one to press deep into Temple of Fiends. Finds a very weak Guardian there, just runs away from it, and is going to trigger the loot, and we are into Topher. That's a good call, Link-a-Lot. He could have been looking for spell levels, because he would like to have Life 2 on the character who's likely to survive getting punched in the face by Kraken. There is no Blarsing on the Vorpal Ale, it is vanilla. Alright, so if he'd gone to 42, he could have gotten a 7th hit, but I think the theory that he's just looking for extra spell charges might be accurate. Or he may be anticipating picking up 42 on the way down. Oh, right! Plus 10 hit percent. Good point, Phoenix. So we may be getting... Alright, so yeah, Darkmoon's got that 6th hit with the Vorpal if he is swinging it. But yeah, so Pickles has about a half-floor edge on Darkmoon at the moment. So we'll see how this shakes out. One thing I'm trying to remember, did Pickles open the boxes in Waterfall? Because Darkmoon we did see a Aegis Shield out of Darkmoon. Or out of Waterfall on Darkmoon's side. So that could come into play. But Pickles and Beer was also, like, rushing to get his floater at that point. So I'm not sure he did. Okay. Linkalot saying that Darkmoon never equipped the +5 Aegis Shield in his inventory, so... Yeah, nah, it's one of those things, I get the pressure, but you do have to remember to put your good stuff on. So far it hasn't punished him, so we'll see if that continues apace. Because let's just face it, a +5 Aegis Shield wasn't saving him from having 14 hit points on a fighter. Probably. Yeah, these heal pots... a little bit slower than blowing your spell charges, but I understand why he's taking this angle, because you want to conserve your higher value healing for Chaos. Pickles and Beer, meanwhile, looks like healing up in anticipation of fighting Kraken, also going to rely on the heal pots for the moment. And we are into Kraken 2. Defense goes up, and it looks like a white shirt is coming out, so... That fighter, though, weathered that first wave of punches like a champ. But that second wave of punches wasn't exactly neutralized by the evasion stacking. But we're going to get a Cure 4 off here on Pickles and Beer's side, and it's going to do good. Darkmoon, looking to me like he followed a similar angle. Both runners, it looks like swinging the Vorpal. That Power Bonk, though, showing its worth for Pickles and Beer. Whereas Darkmoon is still, you know, kind of just having to work with what the Vorpal gives him. And I would like to now take this moment to point out, this is why I was saying, if you don't have a Power Bonk, the Vorpal isn't nearly as shiny as it looks. But, oh yeah, that's not good for Darkmoon. He does have life too, though. But that is not easy to cast when you are dead. Yeah, he's got no choice, though. He's just going to need to go back in. He's got to know that Pickles and Beer is in Topher at this point. And... yeah, I would agree with that, Lynn. The lack of putting that Aegis Shield on, like, that would have eaten a lot of the damage that Kraken was putting out there. Because Aegis Shield already has, like, a high absorb, and then you +5 it, that's huge. Also, shoutouts to Chadbert for subscribing to Speed Gaming. And thanks again to Speed Gaming for hosting us. This has been fantastic and helpful. Yeah, Pickles and Beer is going to be heading into this fight with Chaos. He's got a bonk, he's got defense sword, and he's got the Vorpal in hand. No fast, but he should have some lock spells available. Oh, he's got to throw the Ice +2 on the Red Mage as a backup plan. Also, shoutouts to Maple for the subscription as well. And Chaos immediately throws out Nuclear. It doesn't matter. These are two very beefy boys. Lit 2 comes out. Power bonking up on Pickles and Beer's side. I expect we're going to see at least 2 more bonks before he starts swinging. But yeah, for folks who apparently are just coming in late, the runners agreed 2 forced characters, one melee, 1 magic, no recruiting. And they enforced that via flags. But yeah, so further nuclears from Chaos, Pickles and Beer's Red Mage, in spite of being in the back, somehow doing good work. And yeah, having to stack on these tempers further, Nuclear comes out, drops the Red Mage, Power Bonk is all the buffing we've got left. Vorpal Sword is swinging, and it is going to terminate Chaos with a lucky crit there. And that is going to be an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 41 seconds for Pickles and Beer, and Darkmoon is immediately going to forfeit. Like, within 6 seconds, he forfeited. So both of these runners are pretty much done, so get those GGs in chat. You're also welcome to put a Darkmoon Y in chat, because I'm sure that he's looking. But we'll get those invites out to see if we can get them up in here. So Pickles and Beer is in the waiting room, and Darkmoon should be joining us shortly. Hopefully they remember that they can just come up. Darkmoon!
Hey, what'd I do wrong this time? Everything?
You forgot to equip the Aegis Shield +5 you found for one thing.
It's fine. One shield was not saving me from that Kraken or that Chaos.
It might have.
It wasn't the punches that did me in the end. It was that thunder for like 230 damage. I mean, come on.
But you know the damage you took before then, when you could have been healing your Red Mage instead?
I tried once. He healed for like 10 health points. It wasn't worth it.
Anyway, GG.
It's fine.
Pickles, GG to you as well.
Thank you, GG Darkmoon.
GG. At least you kept it close.
I think that you were able to start listening right after I finished complaining about something you did, Darkmoon. I'm trying to remember what it was now.
Oh, it might have been when I let the Red Mage stupidly die because I didn't put the ribbon on him in Volcano because I did a grind and forgot to re-equip him.
I busted. So, okay. Alright, so let's start with the thing both of you got to enjoy here. How about that encounter table, huh?
It was interesting. I kind of liked it. Like, you burn off everything at the start, and then you get a free run for a while.
I wasn't smart enough to get that part figured out.
Oh. I think Woat saw me do it in Topher, or Toph, the first time I got there, I saved out and I started seeing stuff, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot right there. Okay, I'll remember that for the future.
Yeah, no, I did actually call you out on that. No, I was personally pulling for the Bridge of for all of those fights to land on the Bridge of Destiny. I was very disappointed when it didn't happen to either of you.
Lucked out on that one.
I tried to engineer the hero run, and I actually almost got it perfect for my first dive into Topher. Two of the pink worms were great. I took those afterwards, but then I got that sweet run all the way through to the earth floor. Oh, that was nice.
Oh, dang it, Darkmoon, you're making me sound like a dick. I was arguing that you weren't planning any of your hero runs.
No, I planned that one. I was like, okay, hard reset, go in, take 2 or 3 encounters on that earth floor, bounce out, go save, come back with all my charges, and then go in. I got 2 pink worms because I didn't count it right. But again, pink worms that got me to level 40. That was great.
Well, I was specifically
yeah.
thinking about the Bridge of Destiny, where you only saw the one fight.
No, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That one I was busting you on, but...
No.
Alright.
Yeah.
So... Alright, I saw the two... I was in the chat when the two of you decided that you were going to go this route. And I honestly do think that this was a very stylish way to go for it. Fighter Red Mage, and the fighter can't put a ribbon on.
Yeah, that sucked. Thanks. Thanks, Danny.
Oh, actually, okay. This is something that came up. No one caught it. One of you died to spiders. What killed you?
Wasn't me.
It was either the spider or the ooze in Earth. That was Death Touch. Which is why every time I ran into them after that, it was AOE for both my characters, because we can't have that.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because everyone was like, what killed him? And it's just like, if you didn't see what killed him, it was probably Death Touch.
Oh, it was. I had like 600 HP.
Yeah.
I found the death or the stone touch on the nightmares. That was scary.
Oh yeah, that sure was.
That was not fun.
So Dark Moon found all of the good grinds, by the way, Pickles, because he found that, well, I think you both saw the zombie Ds in Marsh Cave, but Dark Moon found them early enough to be able to make use of them. And then there was the eye grind, the Thrown in Ordeals, which I believe you warped out of, Pickles, without seeing.
Yep, exited it. I exited out after getting the incentive, but I had, with that red D under 300 HP there and an ice sword, I wasn't checking any spike tiles. I didn't have to at that point.
Oh yeah, see, I didn't get the. I don't even think I got the ice sword. So the red Ds were not having. I think they were like 3 rounds for me with the light axe, and it just wasn't worth it.
So that actually brings up an interesting question. So Pickles, if you hadn't found the power bonk, would you still have gone with the Vorpal through Ordeals?
Ordeals?
Over.
Not Ordeals, Topher.
Sky?
Okay.
Yeah. Figured I'd have 8 to 9 temper charges on the Red Mage, just wouldn't use any new cast. Yeah, I was gonna try it.
Because, so Dark Moon, for the record, the bonk was on right side Sky 1.
Yeah, I'm never gonna check that.
Yeah. Pickles got bailed out on that one.
I get that. No, it's fine. It's fine. There are chests I am never gonna check. Like, you saw me on Agama floor. I'm like, I'm gonna check this better trap. I'm gonna check this better trap. I'm gonna sadly die to this better trap. So that incentivized me to go check a couple chests in Treasury. I was just looking for armor at that point because I didn't think Chain +5 was gonna cut it. And then when I lucked into the Ice +4, I'm like, good enough. I'm done checking stuff. But yeah, I'll check the better traps I know, and I'll check the greeds that are on the way. But I'm not checking much, because, well, Pickles is a good player, and I gotta do everything I can to keep up.
Yeah, did you find the defense sword in upper left Agama floor?
Nope.
Okay, that wasn't even a greed check. That was like the lower left-hand chest.
It was. It wasn't it wasn't the one behind the trap at all. It was a greed one, and so I wasn't gonna check it.
Anyway.
Clearly, I need to check a few more greeds in my pathing, but I don't have to worry about that now. I'm out of brackets. Who cares?
Yeah, but you'll be back for the next thing that we do, and it's good to remember that you can check that box for free.
There'll probably be other stuff, and I'll do some other stupid thing. It's fine.
Anyway, but yeah, so okay, if you hadn't, all right, so.
Would have loved to have a ruse or a defense. That would have been great, game. Come on.
I'll tell you what. I was probably not going to Topher until I found one. I was just with not. Yeah, with the Vorpal neutral. I'm like, I gotta have something. The white shirt.
Yeah, no. I had the white shirt, and I had Vorpal, and I had okay-ish gear. And I knew you were going to be in Topher around the time that I was, no matter what I did. So I got my grind in, and then I just stepped on the gas and was like, okay, we're checking the last key items, and then we're just going to kill Fiends, and whatever I have is what we're going with.
Actually, the first one to set foot in Topher.
I was? Wow.
Yeah.
You sure were.
Yeah, by like 20 seconds. And
Hey, I'll
then,
take it.
well, actually, it was more like a couple of minutes. Like, Pickles pulled ahead of you because you took those grind fights where
Yeah.
he just went straight in.
I wanted
but,
the hero
like-
run. Well, I wanted
Yeah.
the hero run because I saw how ugly the evil men and the nightmares were. But I mean, it's the evil men specifically I was worried about. I just did not want to see them on those floors leading up to Earth floor, so I burned them.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was very clever.
One time I was clever.
Like, it was very subtle. I didn't catch it because I was, like, trying to piece together how things were shaking out.
Uh-huh.
But,
Oh, it was smooth, though. That hero run was great.
so, I don't have the bracket pulled up, but I'm sure both of you know who...
Rich. He's up against Rich now.
Okay.
So Pickle can go die against Rich instead of letting me go die against him. It's fine. Have fun with that!
Alright, so, Darkmoon, what are your feelings on these flags as a whole now that you're out of the tournament?
Well, I made them, so I really like them. Like, I'm not the best at them, but I think they're a lot of fun. So, and I mean, even before we toned them down a little, because these evolved from Fall League to Speed Gaming Live to here, and they were originally two forced with one character and one none. So it's like a character party, alt fiends, higher scaling, and no Vorpal included in the pool. So they were kind of cruel, but hilarious. They were great fun. These are kinder and I think more playable. And I think the bracket version is a little smoother than the Two Orbs. Two Orbs was very hectic, and this feels a little more like almost a traditional zero loose run through the game.
Look, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of preferred the hectic nature of the pods.
I mean, it was
okay.
fun.
Okay, the reason I liked it is because it allowed for there to be, like, multiple good choices.
Uh-huh.
Like, it feels like the good choices are a little more restricted now, which, speaking of good choices,
Yes.
if the fairy had handed you Oxyale, would you still have gone after the cube?
I had Oxyale.
Oh no, the fairy did hand you Oxyale.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Never mind. The hypothetical required
Well,
like three things that we thought had happened that didn't happen.
No, the
Because
reason...
like we thought you hadn't translated the slab.
No,
so
I
there was-
did all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a bit of debate of if you didn't have the slab
Yeah.
translated but had gotten the Oxyale, would you have gone back for the slab and gone for the cube anyway, or would you just said I'm just going to go and deal with Kraken?
If I'd been at the point where I had all my go items and I had no path to the cube at that point, I would have skipped Lufane entirely. I wouldn't have done. I would have picked up level 1 and level 2 when I was airshipping around beforehand, and then I just would have skipped it. My thing is I hate C. I will avoid it with a blind passion, and since I needed to buy spells for my fighter anyway, Lufane seemed like the more efficient choice. So I went there to grab the cube, so I could get my spells, so I could then go and do Sky to Volcano to Earth, because most of the stuff should run from you at Earth at the level I was at. It just seemed like the efficient play.
No, efficient play given those circumstances. Like,
Yeah.
there was a whole conversation that spiraled out of us not being sure if you'd remember to translate the slab when you were in Melmond.
I tell you the one that caught me was so I got through ordeals, I grabbed the rod, then I did my grind, and I was on the grind just long enough that after I exited ordeals, I was sitting there going, did I grab the ordeals item? And I sat there for a moment going, oh crap.
So Pickles,
And I do that all the time.
yeah, so
All the
Pickles, jumping over to you. So trying to think, if there's really anything like you kind of ran a very clean game, which means that there are less interesting questions to ask you than Darkmoon.
Thanks.
Okay, you forgot to equip a ribbon, and you didn't throw an Aegis shield on a fighter who couldn't wear ribbons. I don't want to hear sarcasm from you, sir.
Meh.
But no, so, okay. So, you got the ruby out of Bahamut, and you just immediately doubled back. Was that basically just playing the density at that point?
It's 2 checks, and I didn't have the Oxyale. And of course, I like the whole time I'm sailing up there, I'm like, it's gonna be Waterfall. I'm like, I know it is, but this is 2 checks, and I don't have Oxy, and yeah, of course it was.
Darkmoon just left ordeals and just went straight past Bahamut right to Waterfall. What was your reasoning there, DM?
I was really hoping that Bahamut, like either I'd get Floater out of Waterfall because I knew Floater had to be coming anytime soon, or that I'd get Tail so that checking the Bahamut play would be more efficient. It didn't work out that way, but like as far as proximity and trying for the most efficient pathing, not like because I didn't have the airship, so I couldn't land on the small island that would just get you the key item for Cardia faster. So if I was going to have to go to Bahamut, I wanted to do it as late as I could and hope that I could have Tail in the process. It didn't work out this time, but I at least tried for it.
I will tell you this. When you class changed was the point when Pickles and Beer was getting his airship.
Okay.
Like you wound up airborne. Like, genuinely speaking, you both ran very good runs. It's just that, like, Darkmoon, you just kind of got tripped up in a few places where I think you kind of got ahead of yourself. Like, you tried to go too fast.
Well, better than trying to go too slow. I'm still working on that part, but it'll come with time.
Yeah, no, like, it's one of those things, I think, like, you kind of just... You had a few plays where you were trying to save frames, and it cost you minutes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, not remembering to put the ribbon back on my red mage meant that when I got killed by lightning, like, it actually killed me, as opposed to, like, I was trying to just let the fighter die, which he did, very efficiently, so that I could then revive him with life too, and not have to, like, spend time healing him, but... You're right, instead of a few seconds to just heal him, I lost like 2 or 3 minutes having to dive Volcano a second time, and that was sucky.
That's what you were doing?!
Yeah. What? Life 2 is the most efficient healing spell I had.
Did you not buy Cure 4 in Melmond?
No, because I don't remember that the red mage can cast level 5 white. We've discussed this.
Yep,
No, I thought we discussed level 6.
No,
Remember.
I don't buy magic past level 4. I don't memorize magic past level 4, okay? My brain can't handle this. You're lucky I can play as much of this game as I can.
See, I just assumed that, like, you were trying to go fast, and that's why you didn't heal the fighter.
I was trying to go fast. I didn't heal him with potions. I didn't have Cure... If I'd had Cure 4, that Kraken fight in Topher would have been completely different. I would have just been burning Cure 4s there. I was trying to conserve some heal 3s so I could use my Tempers instead.
You know, Darkmoon, occasionally I feel bad about how much grief I give you when I
you give me grief all the time. Yeah,
and then you do crap like this, and I remember why I give you grief and shouldn't feel bad about it.
Whatever.
Whatever. Let's just do the final thoughts because there's another race happening on this channel in 45
Yeah, you're good.
minutes.
Let's go. Come on.
So, Pickles.
Did you notice that I went to the Ryukyu Desert without the floater?
No, I didn't.
Because I determined that the floater was out of Waterfall, because it had to be. So I sailed straight to the desert, and then I looked at my inventory, and I said, oh, hey, that's the adamant, not the floater. Gotta sail all the way back over.
No, I missed that, because at that point I was, like, Darkmoon was running around. It was just like, I was trying to kind of keep pace with, like, okay, is Darkmoon going to, like, do all of these checks and get the tail before Pickles and Beer actually gets his airship?
Sounds like I did.
But yeah. So you but thank you for calling that out. It happens. But all right. So
okay.
But yeah, thanks Wotan Wildham and GG's Darkmoon, and thanks SG.
At least we had fun. We had fun, and that's what matters.
Okay.
Man, that scene was stressful. I hate when my melee has the inability to wear a ribbon.
Right? Oh my god, that right there alone.
Anyway,
that's why I took him so far. I just wanted that extra 10 levels in depth.
That makes sense. Totally makes sense.
So a bit of a correction. The 8:30 race between Luffy, Devi, and Shimbabi that was, I believe, scheduled for here has been moved over to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Twitch channel, which is Final Fantasy Randomizer. But come back here at 9 for Demon Frog versus Sunflash Rune here on Speed Gaming Prime if you want more Final Fantasy Randomizer action.
Woo! Get it.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for her. Yeah, thanks again to Speed Gaming for having us, and Wild Ham for doing the tracking and note-taking, and both of you for putting on a very entertaining race, no matter how much it makes me question your reason and logic.
You know,
Dark
you don't
Moon.
have to commentate me. You don't.
I don't, but why would I subject anyone else to this?
Thanks, Wout.
Have a good night, everyone.